Hello guys, I'm Aveline. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an absolutely amazing day today. So we are doing a build as per usual here in The Sims 4, but before we get started, you know the drill. I'd like to say a massive thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. So Surfshark is a VPN service, and if you're not fully certain on what that means, it stands for Virtual Private Network. What a VPN can do for you is keep your personal data safe if you're ever on the go, so like working on a train or at a cafe or something, and that way also protect yourself from identity theft. What I personally use it for the most though is to unlock content that is not available in my country. So for example, Netflix has different libraries, which means that we have certain content available to us here in Denmark, but those of you who live in the US have other content available to you. But by using a VPN, you can change your location, so I can change mine from Denmark to the US and watch Supernatural, which is not available in Denmark. It's pretty handy, if I may say so. You can also use it on websites such as YouTube, right where we're hanging out today, which has country-specific content, so you can unlock it by, again, changing your location. Surfshark is available to download on your computer, but you can also download it on Android phones and iOS phones, plus you can even get it on PlayStation and Xbox. They have 24/7 customer live support, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and if you use my code Aveline, you get 83% off plus an extra 3 months for free. You guys know I've been working with Surfshark for, I feel like half a year now or something. I can highly recommend them. I use them all the time, especially these days because we're home so much. I feel like it just opens up a whole new library of entertainment for me, and I love that. So can highly recommend, have had no issues with them whatsoever, and they have lots of locations to choose from as well. So thank you again so much to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video, and now let's move on to the rest of it. So today we are building a tiny house. It's definitely a tiny house that's a bit on the bigger side, I do want to say that. Also, I ended up not using the tile counter simply because I used a lot of, platforms on the exterior. And as you guys know, the tile counter is a little like, I really feel like, and I've mentioned this several times by now, I feel like I've mentioned this whenever I do a tiny house at this point, but it should not be counting exterior tiles. So I just ended up not really following the tile counter, the one that comes with, it's the lot trait from Tiny Living that I'm talking about, the Tiny Lot Residential, is that what it's called? Something like that. So I basically ended up not really following it. I think I turned it off at some point too, like changed the lot to just a residential. However, you can change it back if you have Tiny Living and you really want to use that trait. I'm not sure that it's actually going to give you any benefits whatsoever, but you can turn it back on if you want to. The option still is there. I just don't know if it gives any benefits, but you can change it if you want to. So this house, I kind of imagined a fashion critic to live here. So I don't know if you guys ever, like if you read magazines or I don't know, follow YouTube channels that like to comment on fashion shows. Maybe you follow TikTokers or something like that, who also Instagrammers as well, who follow like fashion shows and they'll comment on them. So basically like, I don't know, they don't necessarily have the same kind of knowledge as, I'm not trying to shade by the way whatsoever. Like I sit here and comment on fashion shows too. That is totally my thing. I don't record it. But like sometimes I act a bit like an expert even though I have no idea. So if you follow any of those types, I feel like this will be a house for them. However, that said, you could have anyone living here. I don't know, I like to have an image of the sim living in the houses that I build. You guys know that because like I often do. So this is for not an art critic, a fashion critic. And that's not actually a profession in The Sims right now. I don't think it's ever going to be. What is it? There is like, is it style influencer? And is there also a designer? I think there is a designer profession too, but there's definitely the style influencer. Actually, if you guys are 100% certain you know, please let me know in the comments, just because I don't have the time to sit here and Google right now as I'm doing the voiceover. And by the end of the voiceover, I'll have forgotten like 100%. This should not be a surprise to any of you, but I often forget what I talk about in my voiceovers. So sometimes when I get a comment on something that I said in the voiceover, I'll sit here and be like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? That's just, I don't know, it happens. Sometimes I really have to sit here and think the whole thing through, like, what do you mean balloons? Not that I've ever mentioned balloons, but like, I don't know, just certain things in voiceovers I just don't remember having said. It's because I'm sitting here just rambling, like talking totally random. So I just don't remember. But anyways, let me know if you know which fashion careers there are in The Sims, because I can't remember. But isn't it designer and style influencer or something like that? I think so. And then we got food critic and art critic. So I kind of came up with my own little career, but you know, it's okay. Could technically also have called this a journalist tiny house. I do think I've already done one. Plus, there aren't any bookcase. Well, there's one. There's one bookcase in this house, and I feel like for journalists, that's just not enough. I don't know if maybe I have like a weird twisted picture of what journalists' interiors should look like. But basically, my sister is a or one of my sisters is a journalist, and she's also a bookworm. So I've kind of just like put the two together in my head, and that just means that a lot of journalists have a lot of books lying around. But I could be completely wrong about that, you know? Like, I don't know, you could be a journalist and not be a bookworm and then not have a lot of... I just feel like if you write a lot, you should be reading a lot, but that's just... could be my logic just being wrong, whatever. I don't know how to phrase anything because I'm recording this voiceover very late at night, and it usually, like, my language capabilities usually go downhill from like 2 a.m. We're way past 2 a.m. at this point, just so you guys know, like, just so you guys are aware, we're way past 2 a.m. So my language capabilities are just gone. They're out the window. They left like hours ago. It's fine. But I'm going to Copenhagen tomorrow, so I really wanted to make sure that this video was up Saturday, so that's today, but it's technically Saturday, but it's still Friday for me. Yeah, because it's past midnight. It's fine. So I'm just up a little bit late, but we're all good, and I hope you guys enjoy this build. If there are any other professions that you want me to build for, please let me know in the comments. I think I've done like a lot. Like, I've done a whole lot by now. I've done detective. I've done 3 teachers' houses, 2 or 3. I don't remember, but I remember like, I don't remember if it's 3. I remember 2 of them. One was the mid-century modern, and the other one was more like an autumnal kind of suburban with like a traditional suburban house with what's it called, with cottage vibes as well. A lot of people said that that one reminded them of Matilda, or the teacher in Matilda, and that surprised me because I don't remember ever watching Matilda. So I'm like, what are they talking about? Or what are you guys talking about? I don't know. But sure, like, a lot of people apparently in the comments were like, that's totally Matilda's teacher's house. And I'm like, what do you mean? Totally do not get the reference, but that's completely fine. It's just, I have not really watched Matilda. I don't really know why. I feel like I might have watched it, but I was really young, so I just don't remember. Or maybe I watched it when I was doing something else and I just didn't pay attention. I've watched the musical though, so there is that. But, you know, they don't really show the outside of the house there, so that's a thing. But I found that quite funny on that video. And then I've done a cook's tiny house, I'm pretty sure. I've also done, did I say detective? I don't know, possibly, and I've done a lot of them by now, so, but if there is one that you really want to see from me, please let me know, because I'll probably end up doing some of the same ones at some point, just like stick to my favorite careers or something, so I'd love to know which ones are yours, so let me know. But anyways, so at first, by the way, for the color scheme in this house, I was actually considering going for one that kind of fit the outside of the building a little bit better. Also, the outside, at least the facade of the house, so the front of the house, is inspired by a picture that I saw on Pinterest because I thought the house looked pretty cute, and I could see that if I did something like it in The Sims, I could use platforms to do it, which is what I was kind of aiming for. So I decided to build the house with medium wall heights, but then I've used platforms to like raise up the floor, and it looks like it's a lot bigger on the outside than it is on the inside. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was really like aiming to use platforms because I've been enjoying making staircases out of platforms instead of just using the stairs. I think it looks a lot better. It's just a little bit difficult to do sometimes, or not difficult, but like, it's how do you say that? You just have to add a little bit of extra work when it comes to the interior and making everything fit, and like make sure that windows are the same height, for example, make sure that you can get from one room to another, and also make sure that you can somehow get to the garden as well, like stuff like that. But it's fine. They're cool to play around with, enjoy using them a lot. I feel like I've kind of like learned to deal with the glitches as well that there are, but I don't know if they're going to fix them at some point. I don't know if it's something they can fix, like when they suddenly like raise the tile, or not the tiles, but the platforms in a closed room like crazy. I still have that one. I don't know if that's just me, but that one's really annoying. When you just click it down. One thing that still kind of bothers me, and you can see me by the end of the video, I placed some planters at the front door, and one of the planters just kept like sinking into the floor because there was one tile in one of the squares at the front of the house, like on either sides of the front door. There were two empty squares, but one of them was like, the platform was like super low. I don't know how to phrase that, but it was like super low. So the planter kept like sinking into a hole because of that. I don't know, I would like for them to fix that. That would be great, but I don't know if that's something they can fix. I don't even know if it's like a proper glitch or if it's just because I sized down the item or whatever, but anyways, they're cool though. We love the platforms. So before I went off on a tangent, I was talking about the color scheme, and I wanted it to kind of match the exterior of the house, which is, I think it's gray, brown, and black. But then it hit me that I kind of gone for that interior color scheme quite a lot, even in houses where it doesn't necessarily fit with the exterior. So I ended up changing it to something just a little bit brighter and went for a lot of white with gray. And then because I wanted there to be at least like a pop of color, I added some blue walls as well. And in here in the bathroom, that means I added a blue floor and also the blue sink. I'm like desperately trying to find the words. So if this voiceover is kind of slow, again, it's just because it's late for me. Sorry about that. Like, language capabilities just go downhill from 2 o'clock. It's completely okay. I've done a couple of 3 a.m. voiceovers before as well. This is a little bit later than 3 a.m., not gonna lie. I don't have a sleeping schedule. I'm just gonna honestly like say that. I don't really have a sleeping schedule, which is probably really unhealthy, and for someone with sleeping issues, I cannot recommend, but it is what it is today. So we are working on the exterior again. I actually go back inside because I realized at some point, like at the end of the video, I go back inside because I realized that I'd forgotten to clutter where the dining area is. It's kind of like dining area / work area, I suppose. I ended up putting a laptop where it is, so it's where I use the counter. No, it's called the island counter trick. So you basically just size down the island counters, and then you take a shelf, you size that up, and then you can kind of raise it to the same surface level as the counters, which means that you can use or it looks like you're using the shelf as a surface, as a tabletop, instead of the counters. So if you guys weren't really aware or you were unsure of how to do that trick, you should definitely try to incorporate it somehow into your builds. Is that even how you say that? I don't know. But try to use it in your builds at some point. It's a cool trick. I overuse it. I'm fully aware, but I like how it looks. And I'm also fairly certain that it actually takes up less space than full-on island counters or a dining table. Plus, sometimes it's cool to be able to use the bar count, or not the bar counters, the bar stools instead of dining chairs. So you're not just stuck using dining chairs all the time, you know? And also, if the laptop is in the way, just pull that into your Sims inventory. It's completely fine. They'll just like drag it out of their inventory whenever they need to use it. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, it kept sinking into a hole. I don't really know. If there's any other trick, I'm not sure that I did anything else in this video, but like I've said before, I don't really notice when I do tricks. I say tricks in quotations or whatever, just because it comes naturally by now. Like I do this a lot, so I don't really think about it anymore. But if there's anything else you want to know, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to explain it to you. And also, if you're not sure on how to get that red shelf, it's always linked in the description along with a tutorial on how to use it. Like literally always. I always get comments on it like every video, but it's always in the description box, so check it out there. It's by Picture Mobe, I think, and it's pretty handy, so definitely recommend that you get it for your game. I don't know if you just heard that, but my shoulder majorly cracked. That's what that was. But anyways, we are at the end of the video, so I'm gonna wrap up this voiceover now, hopefully without my shoulder cracking again. But yeah, if you like this build, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. And thank you again so much to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.
Because right now it's all I wanna do. Lipstick left a mark on my cheek, so I keep thinking of you. Whoa, you wanna do it again? You wanna do it again sometime? Whoa, can I see you again? Can I see you again sometime? If you'll be standing by your door, I'll pick you up at 8. I said, whoa, you wanna do it again? Again sometime. I wanna hear your voice over the phone. Can I call you when I get back home? So we can talk about you and I. Or can you tell me what you wanna do? I'll do anything you ask me to, as long as I can spend the day with you. Lipstick left a mark on my cheek, so I keep thinking